I made a comic in a week and I feel like I have an obligation to tell you what I learned from my mistakes. And what I gotta say is, oh my god, is it difficult to make a freaking comic. See these manga artists throwing out full freaking chapters in a week, bro. You're not normal. You're not natural, bro. But I think it's no surprise that everybody's first comic won't be their best. Like, you know, everybody's gone through their favorite artists, like old art and old comics, and been like, man, this is trash. And I'm having that moment right now. But before I get into this, I'm gonna have to ask you to like the video. And if you want to support my comic that I'm working on right now, please send me a coffee. Please buy me a coffee. I would appreciate that so much. And also another preface, more like a disclaimer. I am not a professional, bro. But even if I'm not a professional, I think that people want to hear from people who aren't professionals and know that they've made mistakes, because low-key, you're gonna be in my shoes in a minute. So without further ado, let's get onto my comic, and let's start with the first page of the comic because my issues already start from here.
Like I care.
I made a huge mistake by not doing any research, bruh. Okay, so I know where I want it to be, okay? I wanted it to be in a Florida town on the coast, right? That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a small town on the coast that's sort of isolated, right? So I asked my dad, when did Florida start developing? He said, 1971. I just rolled with that shit, bruh. Now, how could this be an issue? Why is this an issue? It's because I have no idea what the culture looks like. I have no idea what businesses were active. I have no idea what was happening in that sort of time. I don't know the technology that is in that time. So the potential choices that I had for advancing my plot became increasingly smaller because I knew a lot less about this time period. People think that they don't have to use reality. They just have the ideas in their head. And like me, okay, I'm not gonna lie. It's not like I didn't want to look this up. It's not like I didn't want to investigate, but I sort of like forced myself to become part of this time crunch. I was crunching my time so I could just get something out. I just wanted to make something. But there's a lot of people who think that they don't need to research because they already have it all in their head. No, you need to understand the world. The best stories are the ones that reflect reality. And I have a clip to describe just that.
Reality. Reality is the driving force that makes a drawing come totally alive.
I honestly didn't expect to learn so much about comic making in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, but Rohan, literally everything he says in this episode is completely correct when it comes to making any sort of story.
You mean it isn't obvious yet? I'm going to use your memories to write my manga!
Doing research first and foremost also just makes the process way easier. There's already events that you could use, there's already things that happen, there's places you could be, like locations, all that sort of stuff. If you're able to get that information, the stories fall together by themselves. But because I didn't do that, I was struggling and I was taking so much more time than I would have if I just looked up what happens in this time. People don't understand that the brain is sort of a feedback remix loop. Okay, when you see something, when you consume something, you are taking it from the perspective of everything that you've already seen before. What you will make in your mind, what you will see, will become an original thing by you remixing it. What I'm trying to say is that it takes more effort trying to copy something one-to-one than just interpreting it like you would a normal person. But then again, some people don't have creativity, so, you know, you can ignore that, but you get what I mean. Getting an understanding of the time period or a job that someone has just makes the process easier, right? Because your brain is already naturally remixing it to make it an original thing. You just need to understand what the hell it even is. But after that comes the question of what is research, how to get research, and the simple answer is literally just consuming stuff related to it. If you have a time period you want to set your story in, you have to watch a movie from that time period. You need to listen to music from that time period. You need to look at the newspapers from that time period. If you want to make a character that works as a doctor, it would be beneficial to watch a show about doctors who are doing their job. So how did I fix this 1970s dilemma? I just asked my dad for more information to go in detail. I just had a full-on conversation about what the 1970s were like. I started watching movies. I watched Car Wash from like 1976, I think. I watched that. A lot of stuff, a lot of culture involved in that even is still here today. And yeah, it was just a vibe, man. Like, I really like the 1970s now that I know more about it. But also, as a small addition to the research part, you can take inspiration from other pieces of media. Which, again, like, I'm telling you to watch movies and stuff like that. But, like, you could take inspirations from some of your favorite media and integrate it in, right? It could be from other time periods. Who the hell cares? Especially when it comes down to the outfits. Bro, I just made my characters wear these outfits because they look cool. You think anyone's wearing this shit in reality? No. I don't think the turtlenecks are popular in 1970s, but I'm still gonna give other characters 1970s outfits, but like there's certain characters that have things that aren't customary of the time period, or have outfits that aren't customary of the time period. You don't have to lock yourself in that barrier. It just gives you more options. That's what I'm saying. Like the research, it just helps you. It literally just helps you. There's so many entertaining things by doing research, so many entertaining situations and stuff like that, especially like if you want to do like a murder mystery or something, or like some sort of case with like medical malpractice. Like that shit happens in real life. That shit happens in real life. Literally open up a court document and boom, your whole story is right there. I hate to be the type of Rohan person like that, but the story is right there in the court documents.
In fact, he's been here all along.
Holy crap, the freaking formatting. Okay, there's literally one sentence that can explain this. One question that can explain this is who the hell is talking, bro? Nobody knows. So it takes a little bit of analyzation to solve this issue, and I think like the reason why I got this wrong again is because of the lack of research, the lack of thinking about my prior experience, and just going crazy with it. I should not have done that. Unfortunately, you may have to draw with your brain turned on. Now again, I'm no professional with the paneling, I just kind of go with the flow. As of right now, I'm just referencing other comic artists and seeing what they do, depending on who's talking or what's going on. But even though on the first chapter, I was doing the right thing, sort of. I was going and looking at other comic artists and like referencing them and copying their paneling. But that's the thing. I was copying their paneling without thinking about why do the panels look like this. Here, I'm gonna give you a visual example. Now look at these two panels, okay? The first one is from Steel Ball Run Part 7 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, and then the next one is Venture, Ario, or whatever, from Part 5 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. There is a vast difference between these two pages, other than one of them not being colored. Just ignore that, okay? But it's the way that they're paneled. One has two very large photos of one of the characters, and the other one is just separated chattering. You know what, they're just yapping, they're just having fun, buddy. Obviously, you get two very different vibes from these two images. But again, I'm no professional, so I'm just gonna say what I feel about it, okay? So like the first one, I'm feeling like, oh, they're just chitter-chattering, okay? It feels very fast-paced. But the second one, it feels a lot slower. It's like a moment of pause where you're just like, you know, like it's just giving that sort of vibe. It's a very different vibe, which is exactly why I'll give the advice that on important moments, you gotta make some big images. You gotta make them sit there and think about it by doing what this does. I can even give more examples. Hold on. Now look at this. Okay, this is Chainsaw Man with Asa and Denji, right? Part 2. And you can see there's only one text bubble in the entire image, in the entire panel. And the panel where she's calling him a loser is the biggest one. At a logical standpoint, it makes you think, hey, this moment must be pretty important. But not just that, as the panel continues, it shows like visually what they're trying to like convey with you. Obviously, Denji is like disappointed. Like you can feel that, bro. And that's the thing with comics. There's a lot of things you have to visually represent, which will take me on to my next point. You are making a comic. You need to visually represent what is happening, okay? I don't care if you shittily draw it. I don't care if it's the worst drawing on the planet. You can literally draw anything, but you have to draw it, bro. You can't be like, maybe, you know, there's an important action, but you know what? I'ma just imply it, you know? I'ma just skip to the next panel where the item that he grabbed is already in his hand. Like, no, you need to draw the panel where he's grabbing the thing, okay? You need to do it. Now, of course, there's exceptions, okay? We gotta critically think about this. Anything that I'm giving you, anything that I'm saying about this, you need to critically think about it, though, okay? Because if character A tells character B to leave the room and go grab something, character B goes and grabs that thing and comes back with it, that makes sense. But if there's like some sort of big battle scene and LeBronzo's arm gets freaking blown off, but then the panels are acting like, oh, it's nothing out of the normal, like, oh, we're just still fighting here, as if he didn't just lose his arm, this becomes a problem. And the thing about it, though, is that it comes from a logical standpoint. It's not like you don't know that you need to have a panel showing that their arm is getting blown off, right? It's that you're just like, nah, that's gonna take too much time. But then you forget that your whole thing is that it's like a visual representation of a story. And it's not just the text bubbles, bro. You gotta visually show what's going on. But yeah, it's not just the text bubbles telling the story. It's like everything visually shown on the screen. I need to remember, and you need to remember, that a lot of things can be told without a text bubble, okay? You can visually show these things happening. There are many comics that I've read with amazing stories, but like, holy crap, text. Holy text. I'm not here to read a novel. I'm here to visually watch what the hell's going on. So keep the dialogue, have the characters talk normally, but just don't make it unnatural for the sake of, like, exposition dumping. So that's all I gotta recommend, that's all I gotta say about making a comic in a week. That's it. If you have any ideas, anything you think I could improve on, please put in the comments, but these were just my specific, most important mistakes that I personally made, okay? Everybody makes mistakes, everybody does things wrong, but these were my main things, and I hope that my genuine account, and me genuinely admitting my wrongdoing could help some people out there. Like usual, like and subscribe, and buy me a coffee to support me and this comic journey I am going on. Bye!